This channel is being systematically silenced by YouTube and SPLC.
Police arrested an Atlanta police officer accused of trying to get into his ex-girlfriend's home. We spoke to a witness.
I seen the door like he was hitting it hard and he was trying to get in it.
And the witness says that's just part of what the officer did.
Breaking news, nigga. Some breaking news.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
There's something wrong with the black man's mind. There's something wrong with his mind. Nigga, please. I think it's
Oh, hell no.
Fight their asses.
I'm Justin Farmer, and new at 6, Channel 2 Action News uncovered exclusive details about the arrest of an Atlanta police officer. Investigators say he threatened to kidnap his ex-girlfriend before trying to break into her home. Channel 2 investigative reporter Nicole Carr live from APD headquarters. Nicole, you talked to a witness concerned the officer abused his police power when he showed up to the house.
Well, that witness believes this APD officer used his access to the department to pull sensitive information on him because the witness was getting close to the officer's ex-girlfriend.
Even though he found everything out about me because he's a police officer.
BJ Herring says his visit to a new friend's home went downhill when this off-duty Atlanta police officer showed up shouting and pounding on the front door around midnight on Tuesday.
I don't know if he'd be popping up at the house like that. I wouldn't even came over there. I would have invited her to my house.
They had been in a relationship, and it didn't end well.
That APD officer is Jason Ricketts. He is now facing a harassment charge tied to the early morning disturbance at his ex-girlfriend's Lithonia home. The woman, who is the daughter of a Metro Atlanta sheriff, called 911 when Ricketts began pounding on the door. Then Herring says they peeked through the blinds to see the APD officer inspecting his car.
He was getting my tag number, and then he got on the phone, so I'm guessing he called somebody he knew that might have been at work.
Minutes later, Ricketts called his ex from outside, demanding to know more about her visitor. He identified Herring by his full name.
That was the crazy thing. Like, me and her, we just met. Like, she didn't even know my real name. Like, she just knew my nickname. And when he called back, that's how she ended up finding out what my real name was.
Atlanta police were notified of Ricketts' arrest, while DeKalb police began to investigate recent threatening text messages from the officer to his ex.
He said that he was going to kidnap her.
If anything happened in the future between me and him, then y'all already know it's about a chick that he's not even with no more, and he just happened to see my car outside of the driveway.
Now, records show Ricketts posted a $2,000 bond and was released from the DeKalb County Jail this afternoon. He's only been with APD since 2015, and tonight the department confirms that he's been relieved of duty and working in a non-law enforcement capacity pending an internal investigation, and that investigation will include a probe into whether APD resources or personnel were used to identify Herring. We're live in downtown Atlanta. Nicole Carr, Channel 2 Action.
Tom, the Bells assistant police chief is charged with domestic assault after an incident last week in Bells. WBBJ 7 Eyewitness News reporter Hannah King was in Crockett County and reveals this new arrest.
The Crockett County Sheriff's Office received a complaint Thursday night about an alleged domestic assault reported in Bells. When officers arrived on Rogers Lane, they discovered it was the home of Assistant Police Chief Kevin Ligon.
From this point, our deputies arrived, and Chief Jenkins with the Bells Police Department requested that our CID division investigate the incident.
Deputies found enough evidence to warrant an arrest on Assistant Police Chief Ligon. Later that same night, Ligon turned himself into the Crockett County Sheriff's Office without any incident and made bond 12 hours later.
It's just a no-contact order, not an order of protection or anything. It's just a standard judge's order on any domestic assault case.
Sheriff Klein says this case would be handled just like any other domestic assault.
The only problem would be is you'd have to hire, I'm sure they would bring in another prosecutor and possibly another judge, probably.
Due to Ligon's role in law enforcement, there may be judicial conflicts. Authorities say Ligon has been in law enforcement for more than 20 years with no prior charges or previous disciplinary action against him.
It all depends a lot on the situation and what the family wants to do, what the victim wants to do. Hopefully, they can get some help and sort of work through some of the issues.
In Crockett County, Hannah King, WBBJ 7 Eyewitness News.
Bells Police Chief Roger Jenkins says Ligon will finish his remaining reports with the department and be placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. A correctional officer is out of a job and facing drug charges after a joint operation by the Whiteville Police Department and the Tennessee Department of Corrections. Investigators say 23-year-old Latasha West is accused of attempting to bring marijuana to an inmate at the Hardeman County Correctional Facility. Whiteville Police Chief Stephen Stanley says after a parking lot search, West admitted to having the drug in her car.
She was very nervous, and then she finally admitted that she had a package on her that she was attempting to take into one of the inmates.
Latasha West was arrested on Thursday. She's being held in the Hardeman County Criminal Justice Complex in lieu of a $50,000 bond.
Yeah, Dave, we're hearing the criminal charges could come as early as Monday. That's from state police sources. They're investigating this with Detroit police and the FBI. There are two alarming parts to this. The life-changing injury for Mike Karpovich, who was a customer here, and you have a Detroit police commander and a detective. Did they commit another crime by stalling this investigation?
There was a delay of about 3 days. So that really has a negative impact on our ability to do a thorough investigation.
Two veteran cops with 40 combined years on the job in Detroit working security inside the Ottawa Via on March 11th. Witnesses say Mike Karpovich was forced to the floor, hit his head, and has severe brain damage. As we first reported, Commander Tim Leach, now demoted to lieutenant and suspended, but still being paid.
Consistently what I do, I generally recommend an officer go suspended without pay if they have been charged.
And the chief confirming to the 7 investigators, Detroit detective Fred Person, also at the bar. He's now on restricted duty during the criminal investigation.
At this point, we have no information that he actually witnessed the force.
Witnesses say customers called 911 and 2 Detroit police officers were dispatched to the bar. But they were told this was only a slip and fall, not a use of force by an off-duty cop, not an assault. The 2 veterans not stepping forward.
They did not secure a crime scene. They did not preserve evidence or witnesses.
I don't have an answer for you on that. I understand the tenure. Yes, there's an expectation.
Mike Karpovich's family is demanding answers. We first talked with his brother Troy, who is now Mike's legal guardian, outside of Detroit Receiving Hospital on Tuesday.
I've talked to all of his friends because we're trying to figure out how this could happen. I've never seen him in a fight, and none of his friends that have known him for 30 years have seen him in a fight.
How serious is this?
Some might suggest this is an obstruction of justice.
You know, that's certainly not my call. That would be something that the prosecutor would make a determination on.
Now, we reached out again today to Tim Leach and Fred Person. They have not replied. Owners of the bar are not commenting. But again, Monday, we are told, could be the day. This goes to Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy for charges. Dave, Heather?
Jim, was this incident caught on bar video surveillance? Do we know that?
Yes, we reported that early on. There was surveillance inside this bar. In fact, Police Chief James Craig told us earlier this week he watched it and he saw for himself the use of force by the commander in this case.
Day 2 of the Bridges Randall rape trial that came together after police finally began testing its backlog of rape kits. That testing linked former Memphis police officer Bridges Randall to a 2000 rape of a woman who had called police about her car being vandalized. She says an officer, later identified as Randall, came back and raped her. The Rape Crisis Center worker who interviewed the victim and administered the sexual assault kit on her testified what the victim told her happened.
She said that he held her at gunpoint and he forced intercourse.
The worker says there was no indication of physical injuries on the victim, but that's normal because of how the anatomy works. MPD officers testified how DNA kits were stored, and if there was a chance they could have been in an unsecure location and tampered with. The officer who handled the kit in 2013 and got a hit on Bridges Randall talked about going to Atlanta, where Randall is now living. In Atlanta, he and other officers got DNA samples from Randall. He also testified about the reaction from the victim when police talked with her all those years later.
Yes, she was upset. The more we got into it and talked about it, and initially she was upset.
And at any point did she tell you she wasn't raped?
No, she never said that.
Bridges Randall did not take the stand to testify. He has denied the rape charge. His attorney says the sex was consensual. April Thompson, WREG News Channel.
Noon 11 at Channel 2, Action News investigation uncovered a Fulton County police officer is now off the job. He's accused of attacking a woman in her apartment last year. Channel 2's Nefertiti Jaquez is live at Fulton County Police Headquarters. And if you've learned, it took nearly a year to fire him.
Jovita, Fulton County officials gave us this redacted copy of the officer's personnel file, but in it we learned that it took the department here nearly a year to fire that officer for what he allegedly did. Channel 2 has confirmed Fulton County Police fired an officer after investigators say he allegedly raped a woman inside of a unit at this Roswell apartment complex.
Why would it take them that long?
While Lakeisha Govan says she's thankful the officer was let go, she questions why it took the department so long to fire him.
If anything, be honest with the community. We have the right to know.
We confirmed Officer Bobby Ransom was fired February 15th. The alleged incident happened May 8th of last year. This police report obtained says 33-year-old Ransom showed up to an apartment at this complex with his badge and gun and forced his way inside of a unit and forced himself on the woman.
It sounds a little bit weird to me.
We asked Fulton County officials why it took them so long to fire the officer. They would not give us a reason, nor would they tell us exactly why they terminated him. However, multiple sources close to this case tell us Ransom was fired because he initially denied knowing or having sex with the alleged victim, but later admitted to it, but said it was consensual.
He pretty much lied in the first instance, so that is actually a crime itself.
We've also learned the Fulton County District Attorney's Office is now looking to see if they have enough evidence to proceed with criminal charges. DA Paul Howard released this statement, quote, "It is still under investigation. It is our plan to reach some conclusion in the matter within 90 days. Now, again, it is important to note that this officer has not been charged with anything as of yet. Meantime, we also learned tonight that the alleged victim in this case has hired an attorney. For now, we're live outside of the Fulton County PD headquarters.
Special thanks to RG Channel's contributor Team Artman.
And, as always, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. Also follow us on the usual media for more interesting information like this.
Channel moderators are Jer Shax and Michael Thomas. Thanks for your diligence and dedication.
Fight their asses!